Hello, welcome to the third. Oh, do I have the microphone on? Yes, I do. Hello, everyone. My name is Ben. I am the creator of the Chimera. This beast you see before you. Maybe I should switch back to the other Maya copy I've got going here. Oh, yep, we'll get into that later. So yeah, here in the corner you should be able to see up the top, up here somewhere, the a live feed from the cargo bay of the Chimera. I have been printing and painting, and well, David has also been helping out quite a lot with that, although he has gone off on holidays, a lucky bastard, catching some sun. Hi, Deconic. So, guys, why don't we start this off by you guys just saying hi if you're lurking there, or get involved in the chat. I only see a few of you so far. Actually, I don't think I've actually gone and pimped this out. So maybe I should head over to the Twitch, grab the link, and share with everyone. Let's see. We need to go to, where is it? My channel. There we go. So we've got that, and I'll just post that to Facebook and Twitter. Let's see. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm now live on Twitch for our third Kickstarter live stream for the going to take a tour of variants and work on some starfighters. So let's post that now and share it to the group. Let's see, share, and hopefully that will share in a group. There we go. I'll put in a second Dynasty prints. We are live. Alright, and now I can stop ignoring you. Guys, okay, missed last week. Glad I could make it this week. Well, welcome, Mad Scientist Games. And I think on OBS I have... Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. Only a couple of people so far. I guess it is a Thursday and people are busy. But glad to have a few of you with me. So it would probably be really great if what you guys could do is continue to chat. So I have a nice little conversation going with you guys. I can show you right now what I've been painting if I can actually get this up to the camera. So you can see there, or actually it would be, let's see, need a clip. And there we go. Got a little kitchenette here. It'll snap in nicely there. So we've got our, you can see on the screen, roughly, oh, there we go. So we've got the same as like here. Hey, Kevin. Yes, I do sound a lot better this week. I still might cough once or twice, but hopefully not too much. Now let's see, we also have a ladder. And we can stick that in the corner. And I should have all of the railings done now. Let's see, I'll just snap that into place. And actually that's a good way to illustrate it. So there's little holes there for the open lock clips. You can see one of them's been put into it right there, and we have our ladder well, and we're going to stick that there. So there, that should be, or rather that should approximate the sort of very small living quartersy area. And then you can see on the table behind me, you can see the camera is actually on the light that's like there, on the tip of the light, so we can potentially move it around a little. So yeah, the cargo bay, and then that's a little hard to see. So let's see if we can't get a few people coming on. Got a couple. And there, oh, we can check out the funding. We just hit 390. It's been a little bit up and down, but I'm very happy with that. And let's see. This screen would be better because that's not on the stream. Let's see. So we have a couple of viewers in any case. I can't see everyone there, oddly enough, but maybe that's because I think we're being hosted. So you guys, if you're watching on the hosted stream, why don't you pop over here if you want to get into the chat at least, and give me some feedback, because today we have two purposes, I thought. The first one, I thought we could do a brief tour of the ship once again, or rather where it's at. Not the actual base model, because we have this already. Actually, we're missing the engines there, so we should turn them back on. There we go. So yeah, I've basically got more or less everything on the interior. Oh wait, here we go. We can just have a quick 3D look at the. Let's see. I can switch out the lights here. This is on my second screen right now. So I will hide the dome because we won't be rendering tonight. And I can stick some scene lights on. So guys, please do get involved in the chat, because otherwise I'm just talking to myself. Is there anything in particular you guys that are here would like to see right now of the Chimera, a little bit closer perhaps? Let's see, I'll just stick some shadows on for context. Takes a little while longer to load, but it does look a lot nicer. Let's see. Okay, hello all. I'll probably only be able to catch snippets of this stream. The joys of being stuck at work. Yeah, that's understandable, Team Grey Dragon. Kevin, let's see. I will have to leave in a bit to run Battletech. Can you show anything on the new Starfighter? Okay, yes, sure. So we have a collection of parts. I don't know if it was quite clear on the add-on. You might have noticed that the price is set at $150, which is a little bit harder, and it does say that, or rather imply, if we look at the, let's see, we need to go back to the main page. Of course, everything's a little bit slow right now because it's I'm streaming. But here I did some new graphics for the pledge matrix to clean things up a bit, so you can more easily understand exactly what you're getting and what gets added. But you will have noticed that the Starfighter listed here, or Space Fighter rather, says modular system. So let's just have a quick look at what that might involve, since you don't have long. About to get snacks. Yeah, you go and get snacks, mate. We should be here for a couple of hours at least. I'm a little bit buggered today, but yeah, you can see for scale here the old Space Fighter, which is a sort of modular, built piece by piece item. And in fact, you can see it right there up the top on the camera. in real life. I can actually... The only thing that this thing is missing... let's see, maybe I have a camera close-up thing. Let's see. There we go. And the microphone's still working, so... I will try and figure this out. But yeah, this is the Spacefighter when printed and painted. Should probably pick it up by the rear there. The wings are functional and fold back. The turret is also functional, swings from side to side, and I believe they go up and down, but I don't want to risk snapping it now. The only thing I haven't put in place on this model is the actual RCS thrusters. They are a little bit of a small detail when you print it 1-for-1. So you could easily scale that up. It's an older Starship 1 design. Let's go back to the regular scene. And so yeah, you can see the basic model there. I haven't got a proper shader on it. So this was built... let me just put a focus on so we can get that going. And I want to just make sure I cut off this other copy of Discord, because I know last time it was causing things to lag. There we go. Alright, so yes, a quick tour of the Spacefighter since Kevin has to leave soon. This is the old one, and these are the modular parts of the new ones, and we'll be revisiting these. You can see there's a couple of weapons lined up. These will not be in the pack, but they are featured in the Turrets 1 pack. So I guess it is included in the... Well, if you have Starship 3, you have these already, if you pledged for the all-in level. And if you have the Fleet Commander pledge or higher, such as the Collective 4 pledge, these are included as well. But I have done a brand new laser cannon sort of thing that I'm working on. Now, this is all just, again, disclaimer up front, these are prototypes. So, whilst you might see some things that look relatively complete, these are a long way from being printable. That's done in the post-campaign. So the idea I have here is a modular starfighter. So there are some parts that I've done... It's going a bit slow. Let's see. Maybe I will isolate these objects so we don't have to... Oh, there we go. Alright, so now we have fewer objects on screen at once. It's going to respond a little bit better. So, yes, we have a few different options here already. And you might notice a bunch of different modular parts. And the idea is that you have a core section. Because, I mean, this thing... It's made of a bunch of different parts. They don't all hook in with open locks either, but you do get a nice swing wing mechanism and whatnot. And I was pretty happy with that microfighter, although it is the Starship 1. Wait, did I close that thing off? I did, so maybe it should be a little bit, hopefully better now. Hope it's not lagging too bad for everyone. The second one from the left looks like a Star Viper. Second one from the left. You mean that one or this one? In any case, the idea is that you have a core section. And I've been fiddling with the inside, so I intend in the end to have something that will be able to fit miniatures, and then ideally be able to just repose like maybe even this model so that you can have pilots in there at least. But yes, we have this sort of core section which has a bunch of open lock clips to which you can attach engines, weapons, wings, cockpits, fins. And so the idea is you're going to have a basic version of the it just like these are not really refined details yet, but yes, it should be a fully modular system that will let you build basically a custom fighter of sorts with a bunch of different methods. Let's see, sure does an E-wing out there too. A and E-wing, yeah. Yes, ish. Well, that's the idea. By the way, the update to the Kickstart page looks great. With the pledges, nice. The first one I pointed to. So that one, yes. I mean, obviously the Viper is one thing. The underside... This one is actually more of a refinement of that design, although this one's based on an octagon, that one is based on a hexagon. So I plan to provide a bunch of different bases. And yes, you could get the pie fightery style cockpit going, and actually if I move it over you can see it's pretty much designed to fit that pilot as well. And actually what I was hoping to set up with that is something closer to a Star Fury. I don't know if people here are old enough to remember Babylon 5 or the last Starfighter, if we want to go back even further. But yeah, I want to do sort of the struts with the RCS system on them. I want to do a few more engines. But I think we're starting to get enough pieces here for the concept. But what I thought for tonight's build, we can do some parts for the fighters. That's my theory in any case. And then the other thing that I was considering doing is, I realized that the Chimera is quite a big ship, and you know, money can be tight for some people, and we have two problems. Some is, you know, I understand it's quite a large pledge to commit to, and the ship itself, obviously, it's quite large. You can see it. Let's see. It starts there and finishes there, and that's actually about 3 feet in length. So, I should probably move that box so you can see it a little bit better. Oh, and maybe that would help so you can see it in the background. But yes, you've watched the moonshot. Oh, okay, right. Fair enough. So did my mother. So yeah, that's part one. But yes, we have this issue where there have been at least a number of people that have mentioned that they would prefer either a smaller ship or that they thought that the starting price point was too low. And now, I'm not gonna go and offer something that is crazy good for a limited amount of like a fraction of the cost, because it requires a lot of work. But what I was thinking is that if we go back to these variants that I just picked up, and you'll have to bear with me, part of the reason we're having these green textures are partially because they're let's see if that fixes the problem or if it's going to crash on me. We'll see. I am kind of overloading the system just a little bit at the moment. But sometimes it looks like the shaders are bugged up. But yeah, you'll get the pic. Oh, I'm an idiot. There we go. Yes. You were watching Star Trek, the original series, when it was new. Wow. Alright. That is quite a while ago. What was that, 66? So, yes, I put the side engines back on. We did, of course, release the 390k stretch goal with our weapons that we worked on in the last live stream with, which I'm very happy with. And a lot of people have actually said they like this little Corvette. And I think this is where we start seeing the flexibility of the design. But I was thinking, if we did a smaller pledge for something comparable to one of the other ships that we offered last time, but it would not include all the stretch goals, we could maybe do a reconfiguration of the Chimera and build a smaller version of it out, including choosing the interior perhaps, as a group and see if we can't do a Chimera Mini or something that we could offer as a smaller pledge for those that still want some Chimera parts but can't make the full commitment, or perhaps don't quite get the versatility, or aren't looking for that kind of versatility. Just as a thought, we are coming into the final week. It would be nice to have something smaller for people. Last time we had the minis pack. I might do a mini of the base ship, but I do not want to commit to doing these variants because it's going to take too long. And in fact, the Starship 3, there are still a few variants that need to be completed. Now, I had a wonderful intern start on Monday, and she has a lot of potential, so I'm hoping that we will be able to address those in the next few weeks. So hopefully that should also be out before the Chimera is released, finally. But yeah, essentially creating the miniatures requires gutting out everything that's inside the ship, sealing it all up, shrinking it down to the right scales, and I was a bit of an idiot and committed to sort of like making an inch or so base version. Yeah, I am definitely charging a fair price for what I'm delivering. I feel that, but I also understand that the project itself is ambitious for a lot of people, and you got to also account for the fact that the ship is probably landing between 5 and 6 kilos when it's finished, ballpark. I've been through 6 rolls of Pro Cement, but there has been a lot of failed prints in the process. So I'd say I'm probably at around about 5 rolls ish, 5.5 maybe with the interior. So somewhere between 5 and 6 kilos, I want to say, which is quite heavy. And where it is here, like those 5 kilos, that's 1,000 crowns right there in just printing costs. So it is a ton cheaper than what it would have been if someone was buying something that was made by like Games Workshop or someone else, and you were actually buying a finished model that was mass produced. You have to ask what a person is planning to use it for. Well, I mean, I have also, and we have sent out in the past questionnaires and gotten some great answers on those. It's been quite clear that people are looking for more of a Star Wars aesthetic, realistic in places, and what kind of ships they wanted, which is why we know we're doing the vertical next time. But size-wise, we haven't really talked so much about that. There has been some feedback that people want smaller ships. The thing is, you can make a smaller ship with a Chimera. It's really not an issue. You can, like we see here, you can shorten it down to something the size of the Scout, but you still got 3 decks. You won't have as much room. You could make this shorter still. You could cut out these 4 inches here. So that would give you about, let's say, about 2 feet. Less than that would be about. Well, if you take those 2 out, you're at about. Yeah, about. What would that be? 22 inches, something like that. 21. Are you going to make a new version with a roll? Will it? What? It looks like maybe you've got to finish typing there. Oh, right, yeah. Sorry. I know the voice doesn't always work there. Let's see. If you're going to make a new version, what role will it fill? Okay, now I get it. Yes. Well, that's the thing is, what I was thinking of is that those of us that are actually here tonight, the lucky few, and obviously the ones that actually get involved in this process, that is something we can determine together. Can I show the chin turret? The chin turret is literally just a turret fixture on the underside at the moment. So this isn't ideal. This one is at least in place better. So this is the standard version. So it's just a mount the same as on the top. This is the standard turret. It is really not ideal for a chin turret. But maybe, who knows, that could be something that makes it into Turrets Pack 4. I'm planning on having... I don't have anything to show right now, but it's going to be primarily these larger sort of style turrets. But I will probably do a version similar to the laser lens ones that I did. I will probably do a sort of boxier Star Wars style one, like maybe something similar to what you'd find on a Star Destroyer, and perhaps maybe something similar to, I want to say, sort of like a lighter Star Warsy version as well. So, I mean, expect at least 5 turrets. Can we swap out the flatter one for the chin? More clarification, thanks. You love the chin turrets. Oh, well, that's nice at least. Can we swap out a flatter one for the chin? Oh, the turret. Yes. Yes. Of course. This is a standard turret port, so it'll take any of the turrets I've built in any of the 3 existing packs, as well as potentially one more. The thing is, the barrels are articulated, so you're going to have gravity issues with them sticking up. Maybe on the sides like an AT-AT. You mean like the head of an AT-AT? Or AT-AT, preferring on what you would say. In Australia, we kind of just, as kids at least, we call them AT-ATs. But kids are dumb. All-terrain armored transports, yes. But I do not recall them having turrets on the side. Unless you just mean like the ones mounted on the head of the dog, so to speak. Yeah, I got that real, man. Of course. So yeah, I'm thinking we can build something that maybe build a variant, so to speak. I mean, this is not going to be something that necessarily introduces new tiles, but like if you were a backer who's like, oh, I like this, but I just don't have that kind of money and I want a smaller ship, what can we do with that? When we had our might actually be able to find this. Let's see if it's here somewhere. Not there. Maybe it's on the other one. We had a survey, and let's see. Yeah. Actually, the responses were incredible. 170 out of 600 people replied. So we can take a look at this as well, and we can see that the number one thing that people wanted most was deep space exploration, followed by the Corvette, then a cargo hauler, salvage, research, etc. So perhaps something filling one of those roles, although I kind of feel that the scout ship fills the exploration sort of role. So I'm wondering if we should make a small ship, or if maybe we should just follow the statistics and make a little... okay, we've got one for deep space. Let's see, I don't know how many people are actually participating in the chat. There's about 9 of you I can see, and then I believe there's a few more that are hidden. So let's get a little quick vote. One for vote 1 for deep space exploration. Vote 2 for Corvette. Salvage is a cool idea, but at the same time, it sounds like it would require some support materials. Like having something, I mean, you just need a cargo hold basically, right? And a tractor beam. So yeah, guys, put a 1 in the chat now for a deep space, or a 2 for the Corvette style thing, or like a military smaller ship. Alright. We're talking about making a smaller ship as a smaller pledge for new backers that don't quite want to commit to the full Chimera, on a smaller ship. They won't be getting the stretch goals, but they'll get like a full fleshed out smaller ship. Something maybe similar in length to this little fella, I'm thinking. But that is something that we can make together. Alright, Kev. Have fun with... Yeah, of course you do. Have fun with the with your game. Yeah. Basically, we've got a 2 and 2 1s at the moment, although there's not many people voting, so... let's see, Savage would be awesome, big gantries and whatnot, but would get heavy and unbalanced. No, I'm not making it with newer assets at all. That's the entire point. Just make something that is using existing parts. I get to show off how modular the ship is to you guys, and we just make something simple. I'm not trying to create extra work here. And then the second part, since you missed the beginning, we're actually going to do some work on the Starfighter pack. Or Space Fighter pack, I called it, but I think maybe Starfighter sounds cooler. A Corvette. So that puts us at a 2 and 2 vote, if I'm not wrong. So do we have a 5th person to vote? Oh, thanks. I did a tour at the beginning of the video, so maybe check it out once it's live. Yeah, I got the 2 from the Corvette. So, do we have a 4th person to, or 5th rather, to chime in now? So, if you're new to the chat, we're just we're voting 1 to do a smaller. Let's switch this back. A small ship that we can put Astro. I'm not asking you for variants. The choices are 1 Deep Space Explorer or 2 Corvette. We're going off the survey that was completed months ago, showing which roles people were most keen for. Yeah, minor is there, but it's quite far down the list. So we're going to stick to one of the top 2. Yeah, of course you are. Like I said, you guys who have already pledged and aren't on the fence at the moment, this is more for just a way for us to boost the number of backers that can get accessible. Alright, that's 4 for the Deep Space Explorer then. It looks like that's probably going to be the one to go for. So we've got to put together a ship that is good for the Deep Space Explorer. So why don't we just do a quick... it's 10:30. Let's take the next half hour to just do a mock-up of what we want on our Explorer. So we have a few base hulls to choose from. I would suggest that we don't go any thinner than the skinny here, which is 3 inches wide in the cockpit. Yeah, exactly. More backers, more stretch goals, bigger community. So, like, maybe somewhere between 250, 300 crowns for this one, but it won't include any of the stretch goals. Anything else, you guys are not going to miss out, but hopefully bringing in some additional backers helps expose people to Second Dynasty designs. It helps spread the word, and it leads ultimately to more stretch goals, which means more cool stuff for the rest of you. So yes, we can width-wise, we can either go for the 3, or we can go for the 2, if we're going to have a smaller ship. And we can either choose the flat bottom. Actually, we could technically choose a flat bottom top too, if you'd rather. I don't know if we have... there's the flat top. So something similar to that it would be. God, that looks a bit beefy, doesn't it? Should probably close off that door too. Oh, by the way, yeah, there are 2 different VTOL versions. This isn't the best scene for this. I'm sure you saw in the update that they are... This is sort of like what I was thinking. They don't completely match at the moment, just because I don't have all of the files in this scene. Let's see. An unrelated question. Any chance of partnering with Dungeon Print Studio to get these assets available on there before release or timed with release? I think it would be a great marketing opportunity and just back them, so eager to see more stuff available on there from you guys. Dungeon Print Studio. They only have the first Kickstarter, 2 I feel like I know the name, but can you link to the Kickstarter so I can check it out, perhaps? Thought that was a voting option this month for the Patreon. I assume you're talking about Dungeon Print Studio. It sounds awfully familiar. I might have even backed it, I'm not sure. But do they do physical models? Like, why? To get these assets available on there before release or timed with release. Let's see. Let's see what we're looking at, folks. Oh, right, yes. I actually... You might notice there is a Starships 1 up there, so I've definitely worked with them, I'm sorry. The thing is, they have a Patreon-based model, so essentially you need to pay to convert them. And I know this is going to be way too much work for them to do, or rather they can convert them, but it's like a priority thing. So actually you can already see that they're not those ones. Wait, hang on a second. This is a different one. These are all Dragon Lock. I've done something like this before, but maybe it wasn't with these guys. That's there we go. Look, see, Starship 1 and 2. They're right there. There's the engineering. Alright, you got to get on the Patreon for that one. Fair enough. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to be done in time. From what I understand, they don't just directly copy off the... Wait, I shouldn't be showing that. Alright, I'll have to talk to them about it. In any case, yeah, I don't think it'll be done in time to coordinate with the full release, unfortunately. We are hoping to have some models, at least. Sorry, not models. God, I didn't get enough sleep last night. Not models. Oh, manual. We're looking to get a manual done, so it hopefully will be pretty much ready for day 1. They have some free options for basic stuff. Yep, it's a cool service. I've actually been approached by about 2 or 3 different solutions that are similar. Yeah, for sure. Look, I'm open to it. Depending on how intensive it is, I can potentially get Lisa to help me with that. God, trying to figure out what I did with some parts. Got the living quarters here. very basic right now, but they're all printed and painted. Yeah, seriously, I don't know what's happened to the other side. I've like got this walkway all printed out, all nice, like, but then I don't know what I've done with it. Yeah, no worries talking about it. I'm up for cooperation, but okay, so guys, back to the ship, because we've only got 20 minutes left, and I want to work on Starfighters with you guys. I think that's going to be more fun, because I'm hoping to put that out over the weekend. Get some nice renders done. We've actually got quite a lot of nice material, but yeah, if we do this basic version, I'm just gonna turn these off for now. And what else did we have? I just put on. So, what do you want to have this deep space exploration ship? What do we need for that? We need some good engines, and if we're going for a skinny, we're probably gonna need maybe some side engines. Let's see what we should base it. Well, okay, let's start basic. 3 wide or 2 wide? So type in 2 or 3 now for the width. And now this is just for this lower pledge option to help attract in a few additional people. So maybe I should write it in the chat. There we go. And again, the chief... Oh, why is that so slow? The chief difference between the two is the width of the bridge and the ship. So you still have this nice nose there. This is a thinner version. And then the next choice we'll make is like if we're going to have the top or the bottom skinned off. 2 wide. So that's 2 votes for that. Alright. What do you think? Alright, it looks like we've got an overwhelming 2 majority there. I would say this is about consensus. And the 2 wide is the same as the sort of Corvette type here. Okay, so the next question is, are we going to have a more aerodynamic sloped roof like this? Or are we going to have it boxier? Are we going to combine it somehow? So let's go for the bottom. One equals flat, 2 equals angled. Alright. It's starting to look like we're going to use this as the base. Alright. So we've got 1, 2, and 1, 1 so far. Vote 1, a second one there. So far the ones have it. Let's see if we can get another vote or 2 going. Cryo area, food like hydroponics. Good ideas. And in fact we can take some of those models from Starship 1. So hey, we'll get some of those to you. Scanner of some sort. You mean like a radar dish? Sort of like... We do have the sensor suite that we have on the Scout. How do I dare do this? Something like this, maybe? I don't know. We could definitely use that as is. Well, relatively. Because again, I want to just recycle existing parts for this one. It's got to be pretty bare bones. Let's see. So, I think we're on the ones. Survey pods. Extensible arms. Well, the pods we could technically use. We have drones in Turrets Pack 3 that launch from tubes, similar to the missile tubes that are on the vertical. So we could actually put them here somewhere. Okay, well, it looks like we're going to have a flat bottom. So it will essentially be like this one. Although we can vote on the top now. So let's see. Vote 1 for flat top. Vote 2 for angled top. Yep, the drones could be good, so we'll keep that on the list. Hey, it sounds like you guys are starting to scam new parts for your ships from earlier things. Many of you will already have them, of course. Okay, we've got a 2 so far. I want to see at least 5 votes, so we've got some consensus. Quarter to 11 in the evening here. It's looking rather foggy outside. We have had a first snow, but it didn't sit. Okay, well this is overwhelmingly angled, so that's this version. That's not too hard to work with at all. The engine needs some work on the back side of things. That's something I'll be fixing anyway. But oh, there was someone that was requesting a sort of a curved back area. Sorry, a filed off version. That does exist. I don't know what I did with it yet. But it does exist already. The galley, yeah, you need something like that, and you need living quarters, right? But you probably don't need such a large cargo bay. So the question is if we should minimize the cargo bay. I don't want it to be as long. So we might be better off. Let's see. Let's take this skinny as a base. Let's create a duplicate. Lock it to the grid, and then hopefully the grid isn't too big. It is, so let's make that smaller. Let's see, let's drop this down to 4 so that it isn't quite as crazy. And let's move this. I guess we have the most room down here. So this should in theory be fitting to the grid, and it looks symmetrical. We might okay, so we do have to shorten this, I feel. What program is this? No, this is not ZBrush, this is Autodesk Maya. I got into 3D first through modding, but then my degree, which I did at university, was primarily focused on Maya and 3D animation and visualization. So I've stuck to that as a program. Of course, you don't need to, if you want to get into modeling or whatnot, you don't need to use such an expensive program as Maya. It is subscription based. It costs me around 20,000 crowns per copy per year. So it's not cheap, and then I use Redshift rendering engine, which is another 5,000. So it's just what I'm most comfortable in. You could use Blender, and it would cost you nothing. ZBrush is a sculpting tool package, which is great for organic miniatures. But when you want to do hard surface modeling, polygonal modeling is more effective, and this is one of the reasons why my file sizes are a lot smaller. So right now this skinny is as long as the Chimera, so we want to shorten this. We want to change the size of the cargo hold. You can see not everything's followed through here, so we'll have to pick up a few hidden files somewhere along the line. I suspect there might have been swapped out because of the underside or something. But in any case, I'm thinking maybe we don't need anything more than just a 2-inch sort of height on those doors. And maybe we're satisfied with just one door. I don't know. I'm thinking of cutting out at least 6 inches of ship, I'm thinking. What do you guys reckon? Yeah, well, we don't want to spend too much time on this, so and I don't think we have the full insides here. So it depends. Do you guys want to fully kit out the ship and see it finished, or do we want to spec it up and leave it? I guess what I'm saying is, would you prefer to spend more time on this or more time on the Starfighter tonight? Let's see. There we go. Get your votes in. Oh, and I need some pick-me-up juice. It's times like this I wish I drank coffee. Oh, there we go. More time on the Starfighter, right? Oh, that was my own thing. Since you're trying to cut the cost for this pledge, yeah. I think room for a small crawler. Well, we know that the ones that are currently available... Yeah, small crawler makes sense. 2 inches is probably a little too small for that, so... we probably still want the airlock for exploration ships. Okay, here's a question. If we've only got a single engine, do we want to add some side engines to it? Let's see. I think we need more propulsion no matter what. So why don't we vote 2 for VTOL and vote 1 for side engines on this thing. And we're going to have to bring it back. Let's see. Let's just cut out this door altogether. So we've got a 2 wide. You should still be able to get a crawler out of that. Let's ditch the center here. And we'll get rid of some of these. This is really basic at the moment. Oh, that's the base of those. Oh no, it's the top. So we've got to come forward here. We're going to cut out this entire ring. It might still be too long. Still quite a big ship. Like, compare it to the scout ship. This would be like the same length, but 2 decks. VTOL engines for 1. Welcome, Charles, man. Yeah, what we're doing, just briefly, is we're making a smaller ship to make a lighter pledge using parts that we already have for the Chimera. Just so that we can attract some more pledges from people not wanting to commit to such a large ship. So right now we're just doing a simple 1 or 2 vote in the chat for whether or not to attach side engines or VTOL engines to this, what is going to be a deep space exploration ship. So we're just speccing it out really briefly, and so I'll continue to fill it out based on the stuff that we're talking about. Yeah, you do need to have all the stuff with you, unlike the Scout. Well, yeah, true. So I mean, you're gonna have to have. We don't have anything hydroponics, but we could add additional stores so that you've maybe got plenty of stuff for like 6 months or whatnot. Okay, so yeah, vote like that. So far we've got 2 votes. What's VTOL? Vertical takeoff and landing. That would be these style engines. So you basically got, and actually we'll turn off the flat top since we're not using it, and we'll put the alternative VTOL engines on. Basically, when you're in space, you've got these 2 engines. Could potentially ditch the back if we eventually do a back ramp, which I think I might include as a part of the Sandcrawler variant. And by the way, guys, don't worry, because the last time we had our final 48 hours, we made another 200,000 crowns. And it looks like we're on track for that, provided that people like what they see. So there should, what my meaning is, we probably should hit another 5 or 6 stretch goals, I'd imagine. What would the side engines look like? The side engines are these lower engines. Oh, sorry, these are animated. I was going to show you. So when you land, they rotate down, so you get thrust from the ship. So think kind of like the Serenity engines. Let's hide them up again. And then the side engines are these, actually. Where did it go? Side engines. So yeah, it's these parts to the side there. So that would be a way if you've only got a single engine. Kind of like this one. That little Corvette that I made. VTOL Sandcrawler. Well, then it's more like, yeah. Oh god, what have I done? Oh. Let's see. So let's see. Where did we have our votes? Arrived just now. Vote for VTOL always. There we go. So we had 1 for side, 1 for VTOL, side, VTOL, which looks like we've got 50-50 right now, so we need a deciding vote. Oh, you want to see the... Okay, yes, I did show them earlier as well, but we can turn them back on. So yeah, the VTOLs have 2 variants. That's one lot, and this is a different variant of it. So, and these are actually turret ports, so technically you could use the same parts to add angled turrets, and yes, you can mirror them if you want, so you could have these sort of diagonal ones positioned here instead, or conversely that you put these ones at the back, but just technically, yes, you did, you voted 2 on the engines, Zoroma. So we need 1 more vote to even things out. Let's see who we've got in the chat that hasn't talked anything. Got a couple of people here that are just lurking, so understandably a lot of people are still at work. Your dog also votes too. What kind of dog is it? I'll say this, if it's the same kind as my dog, then yes. If not, no. But I'm not telling you what my dog is. Ah, okay. Well, I don't know if that's on your end. Is anyone else experiencing a lot of lag? I don't want to log in and check. It's the same kind as mine. Yeah, tell me what breed it is. Okay, a lot of lag for other people. Alright, I have an idea. Yeah. That's that one. Just gonna turn off this second computer. It might be sucking some bandwidth. And wouldn't you know, my phone was on it as well. So, please do let me know if that's helped. Half Australian Shepherd, half German Shepherd. A Shepherd squared. Very nice. Right. Let's see. So you get a vote. 4 rear engines. 4 rear engines. What? Oh, you mean like this one? But we don't have an angled bottom. That's the thing. My dog, for the record, and now since you haven't actually said anything SKSN, or she is a big dog. Oh yes, you did. You said half Australian Shepherd, half German Shepherd. Yeah. Unfortunately, my dog is a Saint Bernard, so still a large dog. Her name is Wilma, and she's Irish. So let's just move these forward while we're waiting. So I need someone to hop on. Should we do VTOL or side engines? Let's see, who have we not heard from? Wait, thanks a lot. Are there any way to the rotation back of the plane back on the engines in the same plane as the forward ones? Maybe putting away the side engines. Oh yeah, you can just duplicate them. But you're still going to end up with the wash from the front engines hitting the back engines. So you could fly it like a helicopter on an angle. Somebody roll a die. Yes, we could do that. In fact, I have a die somewhere here. Let's see. Go to my gaming dice. Now we just have to vote to decide which size die we're going to use. Just kidding. Alright. So, I will take a 20-sided die. Odds, that's ones. So, the fixed side engines. And evens, that's VTOL style. Although that also means having VTOL on the front. So I shall roll. Where should I do this? Oh, I know where I should do this. Ready? Let's see. We have a 16 there. Don't know if you can see it. Let's see if we can zoom that up. There we go. She's a 16, which means VTOL. Alright, so there's the cough. I knew it was gonna turn up at some point. So let's just get that together. Actually, we can cut those out as well. So we have a shorter engineering section, and then I want to just pull these forward. All very rudimentary stuff, to be honest. The main thing is that it sort of matches up with the general grid. The landing gear there. So we've got a bit of a pudgy little ship. Let's just focus on that a little. So many decisions. We had to leave it up to randomness. I really can't argue that. There's at least a couple of you guys that are involved in the chat. Always enjoy that. I know there are a bunch of you watching at work or only able to sporadically join in. That's just one of the downsides of having backers from all over the world. So I was just aiming to have, you know, the majority of our backers, the vast majority are from the US. I think about 65%. We have some Canadians. Nice representation of Australians, which I'm very happy to see. And then, of course, I think the second largest contingent is from the UK. Quite late there now. It's probably just on 10 p.m. And I'm going to have to like figure out a few more parts and switch this out, because there is an airlock under the engine normally that you can see there. I haven't moved everything yet. But I'll have to do that if I'm going to make this up. Let's see. Lurkers unite, but for heaven's sake, don't comment. To change from the VTOL, yes. So if you'd rather see the side engines, you better hurry up. So the next question is... Oh, what did I do? No, she's just catching up. I should point out that, hey, Mostly Dave, welcome. We're just making a tiny little ship. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. And maybe one more. We are just making a smaller version of the ship to have as a smaller pledge for people not quite as committed to the full Chimera. Just from recycled wait a second, you voted for that already, haven't you? Yes. Nice try there, JP Callum. But yes, we were just building this. It's going to be a deep space exploration ship. We're just touching on it a little bit before we go on to working on the space fighters. Thank you. And we were just holding a vote on whether or not to put these side engines on or the VTOL engines here. With the roll of the dice, the VTOL engines seem to have it, unless you are going to type 1 for the side engines right now and upset this entire thing. Because we had evens for everything. Question is, let's assume we're going with the VTOLs now. Type 1 or type 2? So, let's see. Vote 1 for round VTOLs. Well, VTOL engines. Vote 2 for angled. There we go. And that would be the difference between... Let's just turn off the side engines. Where do they go? Side engines there. So yeah, type 1 is these ones, and type 2 is these ones. So far we have one vote for type 2, the angled ones. Just replace all the panels on the hull with engines. Interesting technique there. In any case, let's start importing these over. So, as with many things, these are not quite printable at the moment. They're quite rudimentary. Just replacing a few basic parts. and they may not all 100% be linked to things. So I'm just trying to make it look reasonably good. The downside with these is obviously the engines do block the airlock position there. But at present, there's not much to be done about that. Unless we decide to put it somewhere else. Okay. So we've got 3 votes for the 2s so far, and no votes for the 1s. 3 votes was enough to do it last time. So perhaps that's what we're looking at. Like I said, it's not entirely perfect there. This will stick out slightly more when it has the full. Like this is just not aligned to the grids. You can see it's actually got a turret ring there. The turret ring is something I'm going to try and refine before the next release, or rather of the Chimera. Some people have asked how quick things are going to get implemented. The first week after the campaign finishes, I need a rest. So we're waiting on the funds. That's always a part of the process. Unfortunately, Kickstarter says it can take between 2 and 3 weeks for the funds to come through. I traditionally have taken that time, maybe we want to go the other way, to just try and relax a little bit, because while the campaign is on, I do not have any days off. I've been sick leading into this, and I think my body just needs to rest a little bit when this is all said and done. I mean, I love doing it. It's not a case of that. It's just a case of it's a very intense 30-day no relaxation sort of situation. I tried to relax the other day, and not open up Maya, and in order to do that, I ended up cleaning the house instead of playing games or watching TV. I did stop to watch The Mandalorian. Alright, so let's grab these. And then we should be well on our way to having the base here. And then what did I do with the fins that I built? I'll reposition these later a little bit more properly. Now, we don't want the cold coming back, and there are a few people. I've just paused for a second because Maya has an autosave on, and this scene is 2 gig, which is quite large. And we don't want to risk crashing the program that we've gotten so far. Alright, so that's... Oh, we're going to move them forward just one more. We can fine-tune it later, but there's our basic form so far. We should fix up some of this. I'm thinking that we want a slightly different rear end. I think we'll go with the version that's not rounded, if I can figure out what it is. Let's see, what about a mix of the flatter VTOL engine and the 2 bigger round ones in the back? Oh, mixing them? I mean, it's entirely possible. But oh, sorry guys. Too fast for my lag typing. Yeah, I know. Sorry. I don't think... I mean, you guys will be able to mix them for sure. But I think aesthetically it's probably better to have the one type. Maybe it needs like some extra touch or something. Where will the sensors go to? That's a question. Normally I'd mount them at the bottom there, but there's not a ton of clearance. But I guess that's also for me to worry about, trying to get this to look aesthetically correct. I may even consider doing a back ramp instead of a side ramp there. We'll see. But yeah, I want to go for the version that's without this. Let's see. What's this one called? Side section B. Let's see if we can find that here. Skinny group 2. Frame 39. I don't think it's in this scene. Alright, I'm just going to make a quick and dirty version. So let's just... The version I'll do, I'll just cut this off. I think it's been requested. And we'll do a version of it like that. So you're going to get this rounded sort of ends instead. We had a suggestion from one of my friends today that we should... there are technically like these clips at the back underneath the engines. Where you could put open lock tiles if you wanted. And my friend Sarah was suggesting making a like a number plate at the back that says we don't break for anyone. We break for no one, that's right. Just as a Spaceball sort of callback. But yeah, the other thing too is that this type of engine doesn't really suit these sort of angled ones. Front ramp maybe. I did that before. Yes, that's on this version. I haven't got all the walls in yet. And the folding ramp works quite well, but the issue you see is if we've gone for the skinny, we don't have a ton of room. So potentially the only thing you could really do is turn this into a sort of like maybe split front that opens up and then folds out, but that would require a considerable amount of work, which goes against the whole principle of this, of just making something from the existing parts to attract new backers at a lower price point for those that don't want to commit to such a large ship or all the stretch goals. So yeah, I don't know, it's there's some work to be done, some stuff to be considered. I might even make this slightly more angled at the back, so maybe we would like pull up an angle, give it more like of a flat front, and then have it pull up, sort of. I don't know. But I would suggest that I use this basic form. We've talked about adding sensors, adding cryo sleep, adding stores, sensors. The only question I would leave up to you guys on top of that is, should it have any defenses? Should it have some turrets? We're going to put some drone pods on the top too. The back engine need to be pulled back more, I think. I'm thinking actually that you got 4 engines on this thing. We use this space instead. So maybe even, dare I say, pull away these. Let's see, what way do we want to go? Fill the walls in. And we want that. I think you can see where I'm going with this. To actually close off the back, you could probably put an observation deck there or something instead. To sort of have... You would like to see a ramp at the back. Yeah, it's possible. Maybe if this became the ramp instead. But then, like, we were discussing also the ability to have, like, a vehicle. And that would be rather limited in this position, because we've only got 2 inches to work with. Mind you, that is to scale 3 meters. That's quite wide. Maybe a trike or something that folds out. I mean, I'm not going to model the vehicle, but yeah, the ramp at the back could probably be a good deal. It might allow us also to move this airlock. It's always good to have some additional airlocks, but maybe we could put a ceiling airlock in or something like that. But yeah, I think cutting off the end of the ship, putting a ramp there, maybe having some sort of observation area that maybe this is like where the eating area will be. Just something small where you get some tables in or something like that. In theory, because we still have some to gut out some things, I don't want to do too much extra work, but hey, let's be honest, you guys are gonna... The airlock that connects to a vehicle, we don't have the vehicle, so again, this has got to be something that we can just pitch to new backers, a smaller version of the ship to get. And yeah, I think we got the basic form. We need to figure out the sensor, where it's going to go, and solving things without too much. So I'm going to save this because it's 20 past 11 now, and I want to do some work on the fighter with you guys. So yeah, more of a bike size is probably more realistic. Something kind of like what Batman has in The Dark Knight. So let's close off this one. I'm hoping it's going to say in a second that, oh, we can save it. Alright. And we're back to our fighters. So, if you have just joined us, I did explain this at the top of the session, although there weren't anywhere near as many people in chat as there are now. So, you will have noticed on Starship 4 that we have our items here. The gantry pack we released, I showed it at the top. Okay, hang on a second. I do not understand how it's possible to change the angle of plane rotation of the rear engines in any vote to be parallel to the forward engines. Okay, but not the same line as the forward engines. Can you show us? Okay, maybe I can briefly, because I have it also set up in this scene. So if I take the Chimera here, and you can see the gantry here on the inside, just for a little bit of a preview. It's very simplistic at this point, but the idea is to make it as modular as possible, and a sort of a thinner version as well, I think, for smaller ships. And of course you could set that up in whatever sort of situation you want. It will be able to be wider, taller, longer. So let's put the top back on. Let's close up the ship, and let's put on the VTOL engines to answer this question. So in this position, you have the exhaust comes out here and there. You're clear. You don't have to really worry about the wash as much. They're coordinated, so the wash, like the direction of the heat coming out of the exhaust, is going to be in a direction that's not going to interfere with the other engines. Now, if we had these engines back here, let's say we need to put that in minus Y, no, Z, sorry, and we need to mesh grid. Let's bring this down to 4, actually 2, so we can easily snap it into place. Wait, where's that? Okay, we didn't have it on snap. And then we'll just duplicate this. So the problem we have when we have these engines is the wash from these ones goes straight into the next engine. Now, if you fly the ship at an angle, so let's get this when it's like this, and let's just pretend those top engines aren't there. You would have these angled like that, and then I want to take, let's see, select camera, and this might be a bit jarring. Wait, why is that not working? Okay, I guess we've got to do it manually. Seriously, why is that not working? But essentially, if you imagine this ship to be, let's just hide these for a second, so they're not too distracting. So these are angled like this. The ship would essentially fly. How do we do this? Select camera, and we want to rotate in the, I think it's the Y. Seriously, why is that not working? So let's just put this at 40. No, that wasn't it. So it must be this one. Nope. This one. There, see how it's like a little bit more angled now? And we can go down to like maybe 120. Well, the idea being that, you know, the ship would fly on an angle. Let's call it that angle. Just to give an impression. So, yeah, the whole deck would be angled. The wash is coming out there and the wash is coming out there. That's what I was talking about, Charlesman. I mean, if there are any way to conserve the back engine's upside, but when in the VTOL position, exhaust exactly vertically to the ground, not inclinated. Oh, okay, right. You mean... let's go back. You mean you want these to be angled not like this, but like that? I'm guessing. It's mostly just the strut position that's the issue there. They are on an angle and they use a turret lock, so it would require an additional lock mechanism. So basically this is the angle you can work with. I do not have a mechanism in place for them to rotate and have not designed them in that sense. So either you can, what you could do is if you have a second deck there, you could put them on straight on the side there. That's one option. But basically, yeah, you would need for this base thing to be at a 90-degree angle rather than a 45-degree angle. So I'm sorry if that rains on your parade, but that I mean, technically you could take like a version of that essentially. If you use the no, that won't work out though. I'll have to have a think about that. But in any case, we're going to move back to the fighter system now. And let's isolate these because there's a lot going on. Ooh! We've got Hannes here in the background.
Good in here?
Yes. You're going to get into the camera or not? You have to duck down.
Oh, there you are.
Yes.
Hello, all you beautiful viewers.
Hannes made the wonderful introduction film down in the cellar with Mick here from Docus. I told him he could come by actually, so.
Don't mind me.
Are you going, or
Yeah, I'm gonna continue work upstairs.
we're just changing it up? Okay, all right. At least I'm not at the office alone tonight. Yes. So the fighter. And it's no worries, Charlesman. It's that's what the stream is for. That's the entire purpose of it. So, yeah, you made it, nerdy, and just in time for the fighter explanation. So the fighter pack is not a fighter; it is a kit, a sort of kit bashing using open locks. And here are the models that I've come up with so far. You can see the bridge captain from the miniatures one, from the crew miniatures. Now, I personally have some issues with the scale, because like I've scaled this guy down to what would be about 28 millimeters. My miniatures are a little bit larger, and yes, look, there are plans to do detail here. There are. So I want to make the cockpits so that eventually we will be able to, like we've done here, repurpose the pilot. She just needs to have a second foot up so we get a bit more clearance there. So essentially you have these modular sections, open lock clips in between, open lock clips there. So you basically start with this base and you can add components. So the fin, the engines, the guns, they are all modular. Well, we have the drone here that we have had before. Let's see. Hey, Micah. Welcome. So this is the space fighter. It was from way back on Kickstarter 1. It was built modular. I'll just do a quick showing. You can actually see it up here in the Chimera. So it is very nice. I'm liking that quite a bit. And the what was I going to say? So it can be built out, and it is sort of like built using a semi-modular system, or assembly rather. But it was never really designed to take different parts. It is articulated. The wings. I'll show it again. All right, the wings do fold out, and the turret does rotate. The turret / landing gear turret. It's an early model, and I like doing it, but it is a bit small compared to the figures. This is a 25mm. This is my spacesuit dude, and these I would guess they're Reapers, and they're probably about I don't know, 20. Let's see. We should make this big again so you can actually kind of see. Actually, I'm gonna try and move this camera a little so we can get a close up. Oh, do we have enough length here? Let's see. So you can kind of see the scale. I apologize. I have a pretty shitty camera, and I'm not very good at supporting it. Let's see. I can maybe put this on the elbow. So you can see the dude on the far rear and the blue dude. They're 25mm. Then we've got the spacesuit, and these ones at the front are probably about 30mm, I'd reckon. Reaper, so 28, 30. So yeah. Part of the lag is the camera. I'm wondering if having two cameras is actually part of the issue. Because some of you have complained about the lag. It could also be the fact that I have shitty internet. Here it's only 10 megabit, so could be that. But yes, so I like the idea of this, but I wanted something to be far more modular and far more familiar in a sense. So I started building a concept where we have these fighter components and can build out different versions. Like here you have the sort of, well, you recognize that kind of cockpit, right? So it's gonna be able to fit the pilot in there as well. Believe it or not, I did not build this. Do you have recognizable minis for comparison, such as a Space Marine or something from Infinity? Infinity, no. Space Marine, no. I mean, I got an Alien mini there. Most of my minis are Reaper or AVP. I could get out items from Nemesis. I could get out items from Zombicide. Core Space, Human Interface. Repair and maintenance pod. Yes, exactly. You could make it for that if you wanted. But I'm actually making this one to do something more like a Star Fury. So I want to do arms that are out in an X shape and put RCS thrusters on them. These, I should probably explain that these are just in temporarily to the weapons. They're a part of Turrets Pack 1 and compatible with all of the ships so far. Like I think there are turret versions as well. But yeah, right now I'm just trying to sell off the concept here. So you can have different engine types, wing types. Like this is these guns, however, are brand new, so they'll be specific to this pack. Then we have so I'm thinking of having like 3 or 4 different cockpit types, 3 or 4 different engine types. You'll be able to position engines at the back. Do these side ones. We have that. This one is a hexagonal shape, but it's sort of boxier. We have the full hexagon base, and we also have like a octagonal base and then a hexagonal base. So you can get the sort of viperish sort of vibe to it. So there are still some issues with scaling that I've been working on. You can, I think, do I have the... You can see the control panel. I'm trying to make these sort of as universal as possible, so that in the future it's going to be... I want to have the detail for you guys. Yes, they are modular. Some okay. Some okay. Jeez, these... I tell you what, these names are not always friendly to pronounce. But then again, I think every language has its challenges. So yeah, I plan on having landing gear in the finished ones. I kind of got to refine it all, and this is going to be a longer process. This is also why this costs slightly more. Oh yeah, you can see the wireframes easy. You'll notice that they're fairly simple compared to what you might be used to seeing STL wise. Like if you look at the miniatures here, they're like completely blue because they're just thousands of polygons. And in fact, what we can do is do this, so it layers them on the top. But that's the issue with sculpting things in ZBrush. Like miniatures need to be done that way. They end up being very, very high geometry, and look at how much detail you lose. Like I could go over and redo this in Maya, but it would just take like a week. Okay, maybe 2 days of full-time work or more, if I did a quick and dirty sort of job. So Charlesman, have to go out. A pleasure to share these sessions. Thanks a lot. See you in the next. Yes, we should do one more live stream next Thursday, leading into the final day of the campaign. So yeah, thanks for joining me, Charlesman. For the rest of you, stick around because we're just about to design a fighter part. So what I want to know is, first of all, I want you guys to make suggestions on what you want me to make right now as for a component of these fighters. It could be a new gun, it could be new engine types, it could be a new cockpit position, it could be struts to have those RCS thrusters that I was talking about, kind of if you think of a Star Fury. Engines or wings, sensor pods. We're getting. I don't know what a sensor pod looks like. I should also adapt the missiles from earlier Kickstarters. Weapon blister, please, with protruding barrels. So, wait, to make an internal weapon mount. A pin pull. Engine pods. I'm going to just assemble a few things and then we'll make a list and vote on them. And this time we'll do a larger list where you get to choose like 1, 2, 3 your top favorites. We might have like 5 or 6 things on the list, so you'll just rank them like 2, 4 and 6 or whatever. A sensor pod could look like anything you want it to look like. A radar, for example. Pintle mount. I need reference material for that, mate. A pimple on the hull. Getting smart, huh? Now I'm curious about what a pintle mount is. A rear gunner. Well, the thing is, if this works out well, what I'd like to do is a smaller Kickstarter where it's modular ships but a bit bigger. And in that case, I'd look more like to Wing Commander sort of style ships. So you might have a turret at the back, for example. Right now, these are such small scale. So I want these to be able to fit in the Chimera as is. Like a blister, sensors hidden under bulges in the hull. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. So you mean like if you took like a part of this and made just like a bulb sticking out. I mean, in what piece though? Is the main question. Like in the nose of one of these ships, we have 4 cockpit types here. Well, really, this one and that one are more or less the same. I've just scaled this one up to fit the miniature a bit better. It's a tight fit as is. Okay, one thing I would like to see is ships for different cultures or species, alien stuff or even human groups from different planets or galaxies. I would need a lot of feedback from people that they want to see alien ships before I'd make them. The issue is they can so vastly variate from species to species, and I think the problem is when I build a ship, I need to make it as appealing as possible to as wide an audience as possible if I'm going to have a successful Kickstarter, which means, for example, there has been a lot more focus on Star Wars style design language because that has been the most popular one, followed by realistic. So I'm not against the idea of doing alien ships, but they also would be more organic, take a lot more time, and I just want to see the support with the community that that's actually what they want before I'd commit. My choice of alien style ship, it would definitely be something Zentradi style. But everyone's going to have different opinions about what they want to see. Let's see. Something that makes it look similar to the well-known eyeball fighters. Well, Wait, I just tried to move the wrong screen here. Hang on, there we go. That should be back in place. I thought I had a black strip there somewhere. Yeah, we did. There we go. Don't need to see my entire desktop, do we? Okay. Transforming Robotex. I assume you mean Vertex or variable fighters. The Zentradi Hoo. Fast packs missiles. It's nice that there are so many Macross fans. I really appreciate that. Or Robotech, I guess most people know it as. Well, good to know that there are at least people that... what is the Zentradi from? You would probably know it from either Robotech or Macross. They're sort of like giants that look humanoid. Oh. I used to be a huge Robotech fan. And then I found out that Robotech is kind of a... Well, let's just say that American execs kind of raped the original series a lot to stick it together with two other unrelated series, and has since decided to block anyone from seeing the tons of sequels that have followed up, so it's really hard to get Macross products from Japan. So, for example, the movie, which I love, which is my biggest inspiration, can't actually be exported outside of Japan at the moment, legally. So, yes. But yes, the Zentradi Tyranids, okay. Mm-hmm. So, like I mentioned, I think we would have to have a general consensus. We're not going to do that now. We're talking about future Kickstarters. I think now we should try and narrow something down. So I've seen engine pods, I've seen sensor packs, fast packs. I think we honestly need to have some base ships before we can... Although, could do something... Like, oh, these are hiding... They're going to have open lock clips attached to them, but yeah, you'll be able to attach additional weapons and things. I have to figure out exactly how I'm doing landing gears. Yeah, no, throwing ideas out is a good idea. There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't want to promise anything, and one of the reasons I've had the success I've had is by doing some decent market research and making sure that I'm making stuff that appeals to enough people that, you know, it's worth doing. So, like I said, I would just want to get a general consensus that, you know, those kind of ships are what people would want to buy. When I finish this, I actually have a nice Petite Verganitzes. That would be the Brita's ship that I want to print. Because I have a 1 to 4,000 scale model of the Macross. Let me grab it. Ooh. This is what it's supposed to look like. The movie version. So that's like 1,200 meters. And I'd like to build a 1 to 4,000 Petite Verganitzes, which is 4 kilometers. So it would be almost Chimera sized. I'm an idiot. No, I've actually bought a model, so it's not my own model. I need the time to print it. Let's see, sci-fi is always a kick in the pants. We have 5 different people asking for 5 different things, so yeah, it either can get too specific or too broad, and you limit your market. Burrito ship would be cool. Look, I'd love to be able to license Macross. It's not going to be possible, unfortunately. But yeah, I know that there's some nice models going around on like a Facebook market. If someone really needs them, I can maybe get you on to the guy that I bought the models from. They are expensive, but you know, I know what kind of time goes into things. Let's see. But he had done all of the Zentradi ships. He did a Meltron gunship, a bunch of stuff. Magnetic attachment for gantry pickup. Oh, yeah. Let's stick to the fighters. We're getting off track here. We've got barely over an hour left. Let's focus on what we can put on. Okay, have I thought about a Patreon? Yes, I have a Patreon. It's purely for licensing. And I don't want to spend the time getting that built up. And I think it's also, to be perfectly honest, at the moment at least, it makes more business sense for me to be doing Kickstarters. Like, if Kickstarter starts, I know there are some issues. Yeah, let's focus. So, what do we want to see on the fighter? We have had suggestions for engines, sensor pods, missile packs. We have had, let's see, what else we got here? I've got to scroll up. Landing gears I would rather wait with, because they're going to take a lot of time to figure out exactly how it's going to work. What we want to do here is create some parts we're going to show in the actual visualization. And the idea is that if this pack is successful, I'll probably do a smaller Kickstarter which is focused on smaller craft in this sense. Blister weapons / sensor. It is a good suggestion, but it also requires modifying the hull. So I would say blisters are out for now, because like I could only potentially put it on one model, and I think it would be good for, okay, loving the engine so far, vote more wings or hull / cockpit, or even more engines. Okay, so you could use your existing torpedoes. Yes, I'd like to do weapon mounts, but it's going to take time with the missiles to experiment, because we do have 3 different size missiles, advanced missiles as well. I just want to figure out what's going to be the best sort of attachment, because right now it's going to take some thought. So see this as a prototypical version. Do I permit any fan creations? The existing license does not allow for modifications, technically. If you got a cool concept or a cool idea, it's one of those areas where it's kind of grey. Like, I'd like to see people experimenting with things, but I don't want to see it abused. So I would say run things by me, and as long as you're not sharing it, it's not really that much of an issue. Different hull styles, one with a nose that isn't stubbed off, one with a canopy at the rear as well, wings, split wings, reverse delta wings. Yeah, this initial one we're going to keep fairly, I'm just saying this thing kind of can get a little bit more. Yeah. Can look a little bit like some variants of things and that. Anyway, so larger square wings, TIE Fighter-ish, engine add-on. Are all your current guns energy weapons? If so, how about an autocannon or minigun? We have sort of like, it's kind of open to interpretation, really. I would say not all of them are energy weapons, but who's to say? And again, these are actually from TARDIS Pack 1, so they won't come with it. They're just sort of for scale. Only these sort of guns at the moment will come. So, the fighter light cockpit looks more like that of a TIE Defender. Yeah, I don't want to get too close to that sort of thing. And again, this sort of cockpit I designed to get it closer to a Star Fury, but it just turned out that way. It needs a lot more detail. This is very rough. That's something we can potentially work on. So let's start a list. Gonna go with the vote system. And I'm going to just pull up a text window so that we can get this easily into the chat. So 1 engine block rear, 2 side engine, 3 wing strut. And we're just choosing the basic form at this point, not the details. Cockpit, we can try, or rather the forward section of the ship. What else we got? The rocket packs, I think we need to wait with those. The sensors as well. I just want to do a very simple pack that is just fighters. Think more like your classic Viper X-Wing style sort of thing. Let's see, we had the blisters we can't do right now. Torpedoes, landing gear we'll have to wait with. There's just a lot of figuring out to do. So right now I want to get something that's going to look good for the add-on. We can do the details later. Let's see. Underwing stores. We need to determine what a wing is for that. KK railgun. Alright, I'll put 5 as weapon. And it would be some kind of projectile weapon, not missiles or rockets. Just because of the time constraints. So let's take this in. Vote for your top 2. So 2 and 3. Alright. Let's see. We got a 5. And we got a 1. We got a 3 and a 4. We've got a 5 and a 3. We should probably put some more space in between these ones. Let's say a 5 and a 3, a 2 and a 3, a 1 and a 3, just a 3. How can you have a fighter without a gun? I mean, we have a basic gun that's coming with it, and you'll be able to use your turret pack. So we already have weapons. That's what I'm saying basically. Let's see if any other votes come in. I'll give it another minute, or 2 minutes actually. It's 2 minutes to 12 here, so we can figure out what we want to do. God, I want to use some nose spray. It's addictive, those things. Let's see. So we had another 1 and a 3. It's looking like we're looking at wings. Go to 5 so we can. Right. Go 5, we can do it. No cockpit for like a droid. Like more like the old space fighter style. can recycle some parts on that. I mean, like, seriously, I think this concept could work well. So this will probably not be the last time this is happening. But it's definitely a 3. So that's our wing / strut. So let's refine that a little. What kind of wing / strut do we want? Right now I've only got some really basic shapes. The integrated style of this kind. And we've got... this is really not fleshed out, but it has like an open lock port on the other side, so you can stick a weapon in, or potentially we could do something like this, RCS sort of arrangement. So the wings have it. Foldable wing for carrier-based fighter. I mean, these are foldable wings as well. So it is possible, although the mechanism... Folding wings are more complicated, and I'd rather keep these fixed at this point, mostly because, like I said, this is more of an experiment. Now, if you want them to be swept, that's fine. Sadly, it is viewed that you need wings on a space fighter. You do not, absolutely do not need them. However, having them, you can potentially mount more weapons on the wings, so that would be the purpose of them. Something that fits in the Chimera easily. Well, all of these are going to fit easily. Let's just copy this and group it, center it, and I want to show... It's going to take a while. Swept forward wings. I'll start putting that in the list so we can redo this. What else do we have wing suggestion wise? Let's see if we can get 4 or 5 suggestions. Okay, we're back here. We unhide the Chimera. Let's drop off the top couple of levels so we can see the bay here, and then we're going to move the fighter back. So there's a reason why we're limiting the space a little bit here. Let's switch this up to there so we have the ramp down. Right now the gantry is still there, and we want to assign an existing material so we get rid of that nasty green, hopefully. So yeah, let's rotate that to 90. So you could probably fit 1 or 2 of these sort of fighters in there. So that's the kind of size we're looking for. Comparably, they're around about the same size as a Viper. Between a Viper and an X-Wing. An X-Wing is 12 meters, that's about 8 inches if I'm not mistaken. So this would be closer to 6, maybe 7. How about a big ring thing going around the fighter? I like that. Let's put that in the list. I was thinking kind of like the hyperspace ring from episode 2. That was it Obi-Wan uses when he goes to Camino. Yeah, it is kind of A-wing size-ish. Enjoy your classes. Cool. When we get Chimera Plus, if we mount bow and stern remops, can we make a carrot? Oh, ramps. Yeah, I think that might be a stretch goal. Don't want to promise anything, but I think you could make something interesting. Star Fury drops out. That works better on a small ship holding fighters. Yeah, it does, but we're still working with the, I guess, the assumption that we're kind of in a similar universe to Star Wars. Yep. A ring wing. Alright, let's call it that. Ring wing. Should we add a sort of Star Fury option? Ring could be nice if the ring itself is modular, could use only parts of it and get a wide variety of looks. We won't know until we split it up. So we'll probably get a base version, and then like the final production version will probably have a few options. Because remember guys, like the more that we do here, the more work I'm going to have until it's time to make Starship 5. As is, I'd estimate we're probably looking at around about March, April earliest for Starship 5. So we have those 3 styles. Any other styles suggestible? I guess we're going for 5 minutes, so maybe we should just hold a vote. That's, I mean, the current version is kind of similar. It's more a case of that the cockpits are the back end on that one. Chunky wings. Alright, we can put them in. Not quite sure what chunky wings are involved, but ring wings are real. Huh. Well, I'll be buggered. So they are. It does say experimental though. Let's see. Yeah, that looks almost Kilrathi style. Okay, so forwards. Did we have forward swept already suggested? That would almost be an interpretation of forward swept in a sort of Star Wars style. Yes, we do have that. And we did have some moving ones. Let's go with these, and we'll just do 4. Unless, okay, we got another suggestion here. Oh, it's just more of the same. Okay. Let's go with that list, because we're burning too much time otherwise. So let's just refresh these. And then we're gonna do another vote. Oh, okay, yep. Well, the thing is, you don't have to put wings on them at all. That's just what we're modeling now. That does look kind of cool, I'll admit. So, we want to isolate these again. And await the results. So let's say we've got a 1 or 2. We have a 3. We have another 1. We have a 2 and a 4. Another 3. Three or 2, right? So let's see if we don't have 1 or 2 more voters. Guys, if you've been lurking, this would be the time to pay attention so that you can impact the way we're going to design things in the next 45 minutes or so. I'm guessing mostly, Dave, you're meaning a 1 and a 4, not a 14, so let's add that in. Your dog votes for free. Which one of the 6? I like these endings too. Or the thrusters on the armors. Alright, so far we have a split vote between forward swept wings and ring wings. I'm going to give it another minute or so. Got a little bit more drink. Do we have any more voters? We are voting for the kind of wing we're going to build now. Alright, so alright, please vote again, 1 or 2, so we get which preferences you guys have. 1 is the forward. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. It's looking forward swepty. Kind of like the ring idea. Is that everyone? One, yeah, that means we're doing the forward swept wing, I'm afraid. So, which one should we match it to? And where should we build it? Well, we're going to need a grid. So let's bump that back in. And, oh, that's a weird scale. Let's put it there for now so we can do some basics. So we probably want to take these as well. Just isolate them. Should free up some memory and get us into some nice positions. So basically, can have segments on the sides or a half circle over the bottom, much cooler. I'm not saying I'm not going to do these other options. Match the not viper hole, please. This not viper hole, or this not viper hole. Alrighty. I mean, obviously we can't match the A, not A wing, the V wing, the diamond wing, the second one. Okay, this is a little bit simpler, this one. So essentially we want to put something, well, now this is interesting. So this will have slots, you can see them hidden in here actually. So right now they're quite angled. We don't have to make it technically a straight wing either. But we want something swept, okay. So let's just so at the moment the wings would be above the engines, I guess. Which doesn't make a ton of sense, but hey, whatever. I guess we could move these engines up to there and put the wings there, but let's just get the form right first. So I'm just gonna move. Actually, we could maybe start with that as a base. Because we want to get the basic form right. I'm gonna just move these engines and put these up here somewhere. Alright, what about something like this? The Cylon radar. Very, very forward swept. How do people feel about that? Why don't you chime in the chat? Let us know. In any case, we want to definitely get some weapons on it in the end. But the question is sort of what kind of basic form. So let's maybe we put the 5 on there so you can get an idea. We'll move these engines out of the way. Now we don't want to go wider than the actual body, and as you can see, each of these squares, the lighter green ones, are an inch. So you can see that this thing is 6 inches in length, which will fit very nicely. Can you move the model into a clear space? Okay, what we can do is just isolate it, and we'll do the same here. There we go. So now we only have this in the scene. So we may have also the opportunity to do something that's actually aligned with that, but we'll have to see. So we want to get the basic form in. Let's ditch this for now and start with something brand new, just the lines. So yeah, 4 would be possible. We could possibly even integrate an engine into the base of one of them. But let's just say we want to start this at around about there, and then we probably don't want to go wider than 6 inches. Maybe a little less. Okay, so we need to figure out this shape. Alright, see you, Zaruma. It's gonna be really late, so I'm gonna go home and sleep after this. But sorry about the lag, guys. I don't know what it. Oh fuck! I know what it is. I know what it is. It's fucking Dropbox. Yeah, it's paused now. Hopefully that'll help. Sorry, guys. And actually, Adobe should be there somewhere. It's usually sneaky. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Alright. So yes, very basic forms. Okay, I'm not having too much lag for the record. I don't think it's on my end. Oh, okay, great. An octagonal base shape. Well, we kind of have, like, the central thing is octagonal. What do you mean? Yeah, I guess maybe it's fine. I am on fiber, so it shouldn't really be... I mean, even with the lower bandwidth, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But let's just take this basic form for now and start playing with it. We need to break this up a little, maybe... just cut it up a bit and do something interesting with the sides. Because you don't want to have too much going on. Okay, make a slot on each face of the octagonal base, then we can attach whatever we want to the slot, whether it's a cockpit or gun. Dude, that is literally how this thing works. Sam. Oh, if we go back to this, you have on this version exactly that. So that is the... We're just so happen to be working on the hex version at the moment. So, yes, it was your idea. Let's go with that. Let's just make this something a little more interesting. I like to try and use angles that are repeatable. Makes it a little bit easier to plan out. So maybe we want something like this, and we'll break it up. Yeah, I don't quite like that. But let's start out with something here, something there, maybe. Bring that up too. Bring that up there. And then we would come back a much sharper angle. Maybe this needs to come in like that. Is it going to be horizontal or angled down? You can put it whichever orientation you want. It'll slot in to the base slot, basically. Please take a look at the historical. Yeah, but again, that's aerodynamic as opposed to we've got the galaxy far, far away sort of aesthetic. So I'm not gonna stick in canards. I do love forward swept wings. There's nothing against that. It's just trying to fit it with this style too. Like right now, this is way, way, way too thick for this kind of model. So we're gonna thin it out. Maybe I think we might have to come back down in size to something like there. And I think we stick like right there. We stick like an open lock sort of connection to sort of thicken out the edge. Let's see, how big do we need this to be? So we're gonna end it like there, maybe. So come back there, come back here. And actually, maybe we don't need this. Because we're gonna have like maybe you would have like the weapon there. Let's see, 270. It's gonna be very rough. But you want it to sort of like. Actually, we're gonna take away that one, and I will copy one of these instead, because these have been designed for this one. Let's see. Please take a look at the historical wing. Did that. Yeah. If you want to put it underneath, it's more a case of like what's gonna fit. All right. I think we need to widen that out a little bit more. Let's come back down with this. And fuck this section. Let's bring this back in. I'm just playing with the sort of like silhouette at the moment. I don't know. Maybe the problem is on the front part. Do you think this should be steeper? Like, is it better to have this sort of 45-degree angle, or this sort of like 22.5-degree angle? I'll probably have something Viper-like, but the Viper's wings have engines built into them as well. Alright. I think we're going to go and straighten up this line a little. I don't know. I'm so torn about it, because I don't want it to be straight either. It should taper. Maybe I'm limiting myself too much. Looks good to you. This angle looks a bit weird to me. I mean, we have to thicken it up there because of where. Well, let's take this into the third dimension instead. I'll isolate these again. So let's just go up a bit, and let's assume for now that they're pointing outwards. And again, this is just really there to sort of match. Match things up a little. Alright, I'm going to center pivot on that one. Oh, take that off that one on the grid. So that would be the midpoint of the wing right now. And what we want to do, I think, is make it sort of like thinner here, thicker here and there. Because we're probably going to need something like this on the opposite side, right? And we just want to align that with, let's see where the other one is. Back one more. Alright. I like the two sections of the back wing could be justified as countermeasures, launch point or something. I mean, we're not designing for aerodynamics really if we're doing this sort of style of fighter, but okay, let's flip those faces and get some extrusion going. Just to get a bit of a third dimension onto this thing. And we'll also just do a special duplication mirror sort of thing so that we get. Alright, I need a finer mesh than this, so let's get into the grid. And let's boost this up to 40. let us do a little bit or a lot bit more finer detail. So I'm not really trying at the moment to get sort of perfect everything. Just trying to get a rough version of this sorted out. And here we have the very extremities, so we wanna probably don't want to go too much higher than that. Or further out, so we're going to eventually hit that, so we don't want to. Maybe we can come forward just a tad there. Oh, ruins our lines though. I think what we need here is a new division. Alright, let's see. Looks good to me. The two sections of the back wing could be justified as countermeasures, launch point or something. Mimic / connect the angle of the jog on the front to the wing to the one on the back. Not quite sure. I think I know what you mean, but I'm not 100%. Alright. Not really perfect. Far from it, in fact. I'd want to get a bit thinner in the middle. I don't know, I almost want to cut even more out of that. You could take advantage of the wing thickness by having wing root engines. Yeah. You mean like, thicken that up and stick an engine in it. I'm gonna look at what that might look like. Go up just a little bit. And then we probably want to square this off for now. I guess we need exhaust for the engines as well. That would be good, right? Can you, okay, let's see. Similar to the one on top, can you superimpose another engine and blend the model parts? Yeah. Like what we could do is just take well, also need to take into account how this is going to print. So you would need open lock ports. Another cool thing to do would be like if you put engines on the wing tips instead, which is something you could do instead of weapons, as is. Rotate by 90 degrees. Yeah, like so. And then you would just replace the weapons. It would look something like that. Which isn't so bad. And keep in mind that that would actually be angled as well. So you put out an X angle and it looks pretty good, I'd reckon. But I think we should do some more work on this. I think we'll come down a bit more there and there, just to sort of taper it a little bit, give it some shape. I don't know, it's starting to look more interesting. Alright, so what's the problem here? The problem here is that we have the open lock is protruding. So we want to maybe come forward a bit with that. I don't know. It's not working for me. It looks good from other angles, actually. Just feels weird, this switching angles. Can you build the wing out on top of the engine? You mean integrate it? Remember, we've got to keep this modular. So I was thinking for the time being, let's just could stick an engine in there, I guess. Well, let's just get some more angles in here. Oh, is that angled? Let's go. That looks more interesting, I think. At least a bit. I think I just need to compromise between this angle and that angle. Let's see. Alright, I'm gonna go over with these because we're gonna drop that line down. Oh, it's already working. Great. Something like that instead. No, that's an unfortunate angle. But that's even more unfortunate. I think we might want to... I should probably stop mumbling a little bit. Okay, oh that's cool. Where will there be an open lock slot at the wing tip so we can choose between engines, guns, and yes, that's all already in place. So if we look here, we have the open lock slot to work with inside the wing. And there will be one on the other side as well. So that is totally the idea. Sorry if you said something about that already. I'm half paying attention watching. Well, obviously I knew. Yeah, no worries. I'll be finishing this up in another 20 minutes myself, since it is getting quite icy out there, and I'm also quite buggered, to be honest. I think we need to come back with this thing, angle it a little. I'm gonna put sort of like intake vents here, and we'll just drop another line somewhere around here, so we can start sort of bringing this line down a little. And then let's take a look at this from the side and try and get the angles straight. A little hard to interpret, I know, but let's see. If we do this right, the problem is that that's not okay. Need that to be there, and that's too high. So the issue is this whole. Well, okay, let's do this at 80 instead. So grid 80. So we just get a little bit of extra. What I'm basically trying to do is to get this to all sort of like beta 45-degree angle, and that way it's going to be completely flat there, like so, and that'll give us a starting off point to start to do something intake-like. And what do we need? We want to split it in half. So, under format history, I'm going to cut this, stick a line in somewhere around about there. Then we want to start opening this up a little, so I'm going to actually create another line there. And maybe on here, so we can start putting some angles in. So they should all be in the same plane now, so we should be able to start manipulating them slightly. This will be quite squarish for the time being, but I didn't promise it to be a thing of beauty off the bat. I just want to push this in to get sort of like the intake area. And this might have to be a little bit more angled than what I currently have it at, mostly because this wing will be printing like this. So this will be the bottom, will be standing up. The reason for that is just that that will be the best support, and you're not going to have too sharp of an angle. This overhang might have to be tapered a little bit to account for that. But that would be a detail that we sort of get to later. Our chief goal right now is making something that we can render that looks like something appealing. So let's bring that back a bit, then let's hard to select some lines. Then we want to come even further in with this one. And that will necessitate that we... Well, I guess we need to drop that down. Let's see. On the side again. All the way down there, maybe. It's a little bit ugly on that side of things, but oh, because we need to bring it up. Yeah, what's going on there? Alright, they're not perfect, but the idea is to get the basic form, and then once it's in position we can start to do things like angle this so it's straighter and whatnot. Ugh, I'm not kind of liking that right now, to be honest. Yeah, no, bye. We let's see. So we have basic sort of angle, wing. This almost looks like you would stick an engine on the back and it might feed into that or something. I don't know. See, the thing is with a spacecraft, maybe this isn't an intake, maybe it is a cooling system. So why don't we just not worry about this back for the time being, and the bottom we can total fuck off as well, and then we just sort of work on that. Should be straight, I think. So we'll just position some lines. I think we'll make some extra geometry here to sort of make it represent some sort of cooling system. Alright. I think you guys can see that I'm starting to struggle just a tad to stay awake. So, well, we are getting close to finishing, so let's try and get some basic stuff done here, and hopefully we need to move that out a bit more, move that out a bit more. It's not, is it centered? It looks center-ish. We won't know until we do something like this. Let's... No. Just take these lines. These are very, very basic for the time being. They're not really fantastic. But I don't know, there's something, even if they are a little blocky, it could be interesting. I think I actually want to come down with this ceiling, so let's just have it touch tips. It didn't feel right, but okay. Let's see. Gotta say, loving the look of this makes me wish we had a dedicated carrier with the launch bays or landing bay attachment to the Chimera. Your work is looking great. Thank you very much, enemy Brit. Hope you're not my enemy. I know that a lot of people like the idea of a pocket carrier. And I would not be surprised if there ends up being some kind of stretch goal that allows some very limited carrier action to happen. That is not a promise, but it is suggestive. Okay, I'm liking that a bit better. Let's take this angle back down as well. Might need to make it a slight bit more angular. The other thing too is my voice is failing me at this point. I think you're starting to hear it. Ugh. No, I'm not in love with that. I like the basic shape. I like that it tapers here too, but these look so meh. Just lacking some shape here. Will those veins print if it is oriented on a bed the way that you mentioned earlier? Well, the thing is, there's not huge gaps, so these I can't have these angles, but if I make them diagonal, the short answer is they will on mine. I don't know how well they will print on others. Generally, the print troubleshooting is something that comes later. I try to think about things like this, but basically bridging these days will, like you can see here. Wait, where have we got it? Here. There's your open lock clip port. To give some impression of how good a machine is these days. Okay, the normal supports are there and there. And that's about the same distance as between them. But my machine, if the ports don't have any supports, actually bridges that and it looks fucking perfect. Mind you, that's on a Prusa i3 Mark 3S and Mark 3. So your mileage will vary depending on the model. But yeah, if I taper these off so they're just diagonal or are recessed instead, so essentially all I've got to do is take these lines back a little bit further to like there, and those should print just fine with bridging. Okay, maybe not these stubby bits. I think you'd have to come all the way out so that it's angled like that, something like that. That would work. It'll just bridge between there and there. God damn, that angle is fugly though. Let's see if we can get this this angle back. So there and there, there. It's mostly there. But we've still got this ugly piece. Well, this looks like it's something I'm gonna have to work on. But work on it I shall, and I imagine it will be done by around Saturday. I think this could be the way to do it. Bring that down a little. Bring this one down a little. So it's level. Another one or two there. Bring this there. Yeah, it's a bit more of a curve. And we've got these. Maybe bring it all the way to the corner there. And then I'll grab that one. And that one. If I can find it. Because we've got some interference happening there. I'll probably want to drop them down there. And let's see, I'm gonna go. Is that there? And up there. And then we'll put that on the corner. So I'm gonna finish up, guys, because I'm so tired. Let's see. See if we can't just get this, the last couple of angles looking decent. Maybe that needs to come down like there. And we'd want something in the middle there to sort of... looks decent-ish. It's getting there. Hopefully you guys get to see my process a little bit. Mind checking out the image I shared above before you sign out for the night. Let's see. Oh yes. The gun star from the last Starfighter. This is something I've actually looked at for this module. The fun fact, but this was one of the, I think the first 3D animated, fully 3D animated spaceship in film. I do like the design, and I wanted to make the semi-circular sort of thing. This is what I was thinking of when I was thinking of like more ring-like. So it might have happened anyway. No promises. We do have limited time. Things have been picking up a little bit, which means I also need to get on the turrets. I need to get on the tracked version. So I don't know. Let's have a quick look at this and what it would look like if we mirror it. I don't know. I kind of like that. I can imagine putting maybe some more clips like on the top of the bottom so that you could either attach, like maybe there would be something you could put on here to like put the guns under the wings. I think we might need some smaller guns as well. The problem is that if you want to make it open look compatible, you kind of got to have biggish weapons, and these are kind of smallish ships. Will probably work better with like a macro style missile cluster. So never say never, right? This has potential. I can't really say that I'm loving it right now from all angles. I think I need to definitely need to pick this up at another point soon in the future. We'll just drop this grid back down to 8 so I can easily mirror this thing. So we want to scale it in the X dimension, stick it like there, and then in the Y to get it down there. This thing we could almost just 180 is what we want, and we'll stick it somewhere here, and then we want it. Alright, well, it's interesting. I don't not like it. I mean, The Gunstar is a beautiful ship. I'm not really familiar with the Gunstar. I just think the wing, it's not really a wing, is neat and could be a modular part for the fighter for variety. It is, believe it or not, something I've already looked at. Now, the thing I don't like about this one is how straight the wings are. I'd rather see how this looked at an angle. And in fact, we could probably group this thing real quick. I do mean real quick because I do have to finish this up. And just for shits and giggles, let's angle at the 25, well, it should be 22.5 degrees, but okay, now we're talking, right? What do you reckon? Let's hide these ones. Oh, why is that not? Let's hide those ones, and let's take this again, and let's duplicate that, and let's stick it like there, and we'll do a -1. Oh, we're saving, that's why. We'll put that to a positive 25. Oh yeah, that seems a lot better to me now. That's a lot more interesting, don't you think? I mean, you could go more swept forward as well. I just didn't want to get too far, but I think that looks reasonably cool. So maybe that, yeah, damn straight. I like that. And let's just why don't we stick that in the middle, and then just do another one, and then we're gonna go -1, and we want to go, oops, you starting to see what I'm thinking here? Actually, we're gonna let's freeze the transformations on this thing, and then just rotate that upwards and outwards. I mean, you could see the potential, right? Well, the thing is, modular, so you can build these the way you want. And I'm thinking that looks pretty damn cool. Actually, that's kind of like halfway between an X-Wing and a Star Fury. So I don't know, maybe I'm starting to like this design a little bit more now. I definitely think it looked better on an angle. Could stick another motor on the bottom. Could stick a gun on the bottom. There's a lot of options. That's the entire point. So, guys, thank you very much for joining me. I am going to wrap this up because I am exhausted. We are doing so well with the campaign. I really appreciate your patronage, and I'm hoping that you'll join me again next Thursday for yet another and perhaps final, well, most likely final, live stream. To be determined about the actual subject matter. But yes, we have our fighter pack that's coming along rather nicely. You can see there's quite a few different pieces to it. I'm just going to refine it, make some graphics to sell the concept, and yeah. Please, guys, stay tuned and keep up the great work you guys have been doing helping me promote the campaign. Yeah. Right. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate this kind of feedback. It really does give me a lot more energy. And when you've got 30 days of campaigning with very little breaks, it really, really